What did you want to talk about, Jay?
Yeah, I wanted to go into a deep dive. There was a controversial move, depending on who you ask, this past week with Mike Tomlin going to Russell Wilson after Justin Fields was the quarterback and they were 4-2. So want to talk to you guys about the way that Russell Wilson played. One, is it sustainable, and can he lead them to the playoffs? And first and foremost, I will say this. I didn't like the move when it first happened, right? Because you know this, Kyle, in the locker room, once the team is rallied around the guy, if you bring this guy in and it doesn't look good, you can lose some of the team, like quickly. But what I will say is this. I will never question Mike Tomlin ever again. Like, I don't know how many years it's been, guys, where we say, well, this is going to be the year Mike Tomlin has a losing record. Well, this is going to be the year. When you looked at the schedule in the beginning of the year, I said there is no way Mike Tomlin is going 8-9 or even 9 or 8. I thought he was for sure 7 wins max. Right? Because when you looked at it, everybody assumed the AFC North was going to be the best division, with the NFC North being right behind it. Right now, the NFC North is clearly the best division in football. And the AFC North is probably one of the worst. I won't say one of the worst, but it's the middle of the pack division.
One of the biggest question marks.
Correct. Because of the Cleveland Browns, right? Cincinnati started off slow. They're starting to find their rhythm.
Their offense.
We knew Baltimore would get it turned around, but people were nervous after the first 2 weeks. And then you have the Steelers team that has just started hot, and you're like, where is this coming from? But getting back to Russell Wilson, didn't have gaudy numbers. I think he completed 55% of his passes, but it was the ability to give your best playmaker on the outside a chance. That's what it comes down to. I know people will say, well, those were, a lot of those were ridiculous catches, which, again, George Pickens is an alien. He's been known to make alien-type catches, right? When Justin Fields was in the game, he wasn't getting those opportunities because those balls were underthrown. Right? So from Mike Tomlin's perspective, he saw what was going on in film. He saw what was going on the practice field. And he said, I think we have a chance to get a little bit better at this position. And that's why, to me, he's one of the GOATs. Right? Because I love he had a conversation, I think it was on the pivot. He was like, I run to coaching. Like, so many coaches run away from coaching. I run to coaching. And that was 100% running to coaching, because that was a big move that literally could have derailed the entire season.
It's a coaching decision that affected the performance of your team.
100%, not only physically, but mentally as well. Because if Russell continued to play like he did in the first quarter, oh my God. Like, you know what? He would have got shredded. Like, Mike Tomlin would have got shredded.
They were already booing him. They were already booing him.
The first quarter, some of those throws, he dirtied like 4 throws in a row. And I was like, God, this is not going to be good for Mike Tomlin. This is not going to be good for Mike Tomlin. But then they started throwing the ball down the field. Again, Freiermuth with a heck of a one-handed catch. You got George Pickens with a one-handed catch. Sometimes at quarterback, your job is literally to give your player an opportunity. That's first and foremost what you do. Give your player an opportunity. Give him the right to go make a play for you. And that's what Russell Wilson did. And I thought he was really good on some of those bootleg plays as well, where pressure was in his face, where Justin Fields had kind of struggled earlier in the year getting the ball to the guy in the flat. He did a really good job getting it to Darnell Washington, getting it to Freiermuth in the flat. So to me, I think it is sustainable as long as George Pickens continues to be the monster that he is on the outside. And what that did, guys, was in the first half, they couldn't run the ball a lick at all, right? But because now that George Pickens is making plays on the outside, that safety has to stay back. Najee Harris at 6'1", 250 pounds, he comes into play, and that's what happened. So I feel like from that standpoint, it's sustainable. The Steelers always knew they weren't going to blow people out. Now they blew the Jets out. But this is a gritty team that's going to have to win gritty games just like that. And the ability to be able to throw the ball down the field, even if it isn't the prettiest ball, but just giving your guy an opportunity opens up the playbook more, which will open up the run game. So I think for the Steelers, it is sustainable. And history shows you Mike Tomlin is going to outcoach some teams down the line.
He'll steal a few. And to your point, I mean, you got to get your stars involved. For so long, I talked about the most talented guy on the team, not last name Watt, is George Pickens. And you put the tape on in the first few weeks, and there's clear frustration. There's a clear disconnect between Justin Fields' ability to drive the ball down the field with some touch.
Got to put some touch on it.
And George Pickens being involved. And we saw him frustrated. And obviously from the outside looking in, you and I both have said it publicly, I didn't agree with Mike Tomlin's decision to take Justin Fields out with a team that's 4-2, coming off a win by multiple possessions. But you can't argue. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You put Russell Wilson in the game. And yes, it's his first time on an NFL field in live action since I can't tell you when.
Be some rust.
He's coming off a calf. We had questions about his mobility. People have questions about his authenticity, the ability to get into a new locker room and have a real relationship with the guys in your locker room. And people have said before, Justin Fields is one of the realest cats that they've been around. They love him. They respect him. He's a soldier. Well, Russell Wilson is all the things that's like opposite of that. Yeah. He's doing high knees on the airplane. I give him a tremendous amount of credit, though. He went out there. You could see it from his pregame interview. The guy was as locked in as you'll see a player. Yeah. And to go out there and have the first quarter and those first 3 possessions that he did, watching the people in the face paint booing him at Heinz Field in prime time, it was rough, but he found a way to battle. And then to your point, he gives his star players chances to make plays. Now you got George Pickens involved. Your offense gets doubly better, and you can see at the end of the game on the sideline with Najee Harris and George Pickens
having a great time,
draped all over Russell Wilson. It makes me feel good for a guy like Russell Wilson. Also, I feel bad for Fields, who's got the front row seat watching this whole thing.
I'll say this. Denver gave up a lot for him, right? And then they paired him with Nathaniel Hackett. And knowing what we know now about Nathaniel Hackett, a lot of people said it was Russ, right? And that he was at fault there. And then they paired him with Sean Payton, and it got better. Numbers were better, but it's like Sean Payton's offense is not what Russell Wilson's.
Yeah, he doesn't fit that offense.
Russell Wilson, and what I saw this past weekend with what Arthur Smith was doing, and why I said I thought he was the better fit early on, is because his offense harkens back to early days in Seattle, what Russell Wilson looked like rookie year, second year. I'm blanking on who their OC was back then, but
was it Shoddy?
Yes, it was. Yep. It was play action.
Great callback.
Deep shots. Like it was play action, attack down the football field, get him on the move and attack, and not force him to be a drop back pocket passer. That's just never been his strength. His strength has been that touch on that deep ball. One of the best 100%. Deep balls from day one.
The way Chris Collinsworth explained it was really good too. On the broadcast.
Yes.
And it comes down, the way it comes down forces the defender to be even closer to you because if you're throwing these laser throws like Anthony Richardson loves to throw and Justin Fields likes to drive the football, former baseball guy, he's supposed to throw it hard. Yeah. You don't have the ability to throw it. You can't layer the football. So these defenders have a hand there. Russell Wilson is putting it only where Pickens can catch it.
Well, and the fact that he wasn't even accurate on some of these things completed is almost a good thing for how the offense could fare going forward, because he will be more accurate on the other forward as he plays more football, gets more rapport with these guys. Those balls will be in stride more often than not. That's just that's never been in question with Russell Wilson. So I do think, yes, this is sustainable. Now, again, the offensive line's tough. Your running game won't get going every week, and the offense will take a step back to earth. But I do think Russell Wilson is the better quarterback for this offense at this point in time. I thought Fields was playing great, but I do think just with the offense, how it's schemed up right now, and with George Pickens and who your number one is,
to your strengths,
it's going to play to your strengths much more.
I'm going to bang the gavel on that one because it's official. I think we all like Russell Wilson in this one.
There's no way you can go back to Fields right now.
Russell Wilson.
Well, I do think, to your point of sometimes you lose the locker room making a move like this when the guy's playing fine. So you want. I think it comes back down to messaging. You lose the locker room if you're saying something that the team doesn't see with their eyes, right? Correct. If you're saying Russ gives us a better chance to win and he goes out there and plays like shit, it's like then you don't make a move back then to Fields. It's like, okay, that's when you lose credibility. When you're like, no, Russ played fine. It's like, okay, everyone else could see that's not the case. But when you say we're making this move because we could be better. Yeah. And then the guy plays better, the offense plays better. It's like, okay, then the team believes it very easily. So,
case in point, in the post-game press conference, I think Brandon Marshall asked him, this is probably one of the biggest moves you made as a coach going to 3. And he kind of kids and goes, that's why they paid me the big bucks. I mean, is there a coach that has a better pulse on his team than Mike Tomlin? He
just feels like he feels like a guy that's in the drills with his team, and here's the backdoor banter.
Great story for you. So Mike knows I go to the Senior Bowl every year. Mike Tomlin is the star of the Senior Bowl every single year.
Really?
Oh, it's like, he will get in a drill and take over drills. So I remember when Will McDonald was there, he was like, yeah, Will, I've seen all your spin moves. And then the D-line goes to individual. He literally takes over the individual drill. I mean, he's just a player's guy.
People go hands off when Tomlin walks.
Oh, yeah. Tomlin runs the Senior Bowl when he gets on the field.
He runs to coaching.
He runs to coaching. I like that. Yeah. That's just the type of guy he is, man.